PRO, Nigerian Institute of Building Lagos State Chapter, Godfrey joins me to shed more insights on the collapsed building. Good to have you join us, Mr. Godfrey.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
So this is perhaps one of the worst building collapse incidents we've seen in recent times in Nigeria, and I dare also say maybe in Lagos rather, and maybe in Nigeria as a whole. Talk to us about this, because when you look at how the building collapsed, it's quite different from every other thing we've seen. It collapsed, in slabs all the way down. What sort of number of factors could have been responsible for this?
Well, to address your question, it came to us as well as a root shock, the way that the slabs, which we usually call the decks, came over each other without even observing the structural columns, which should actually support all the slabs. So this collapse is quite unique in many ways. And part of what we saw, because we visited the site earlier today, part of what we saw that we were going to probe while, as the government has set up this panel now, is to look at the quality of concrete and reinforcement that has been used for that project.
So basically, it's on the building from the angle of construction. It's a construction issue.
Exactly. I mean, every collapse, particularly with such collapse that we experienced in the Gerrard Road collapse, where all the floors collapse as like a pack of cards, shows that there is a serious structural negligence at some point. I mean, it could be from the foundation or subsequently, but certainly this investigative panel is going to find out all that, where exactly things went wrong.
And there are just a number of issues to look at here, because people buy homes all the time in Lagos State, whether apartment buildings, semi-duplex, duplex, bungalows. And sometimes you hear stories like this, and sometimes some of them right now probably wondering, hopefully this is not my fate as well. But at what point could this have been prevented? Because we understand that there was a report yesterday that the Lagos State government or the agency responsible for building Lagos had said this is not the number of stories that we approved. So at what point could this have been prevented?
Yes, there is what we call stage certification in as prescribed by the Lagos State Building Control Agency. Okay, so what that does is, at every stage, you have to get certification before you proceed to the next stage. So apparently, they won't have gotten all those certifications, because if something is going wrong from one stage to another, it can be noticed, and then there a flag raised. We understand again on this project that LAFCA had sealed it a couple of times, but they broke the seal and proceeded with construction. So there are the stages where the government will have actually stopped them. I think they did stop them. So the question now is, what influenced them to have, what gave them the power and the impetus to have gone back to site and continued even when the site had been sealed earlier? So we need to address that. Like my former president said in the program that you heard earlier, there is also the political influence, which, leadership of the country should, look at, and then allow the professionals to do their job on that.
And not because someone is close to the corridor of powers, the corridors of power, and we begin to put lives at a risk. I just have a lot of issues I want to discuss with you in terms of how much we monitor buildings, in Lagos under construction. But I also just want to talk about people who are still alive right now and living in this kind of building. So if you want to rent an apartment, and it's an apartment building or a semi-duplex or a duplex, what are the kind of things to watch out for, just so that this kind of situations can be averted for those who are looking out to buy a house?
Thank you very much. So, if you want to buy a house as a homeowner, we would always advise you to engage the services of a professional to carry out, some form of tests. There is what we call non-destructive tests on the project. That can be done, to ascertain the strength of the structure. Because right now on that project, we understand that they've already had so many subscribers who have keyed into their project. And we're not only talking about lives that have been lost, we're also talking about homes, lifetime savings and investment that have been lost. So going forward, We encourage those who seek to buy new homes to engage the services of professionals that can carry out non-destructive tests on those houses before they proceed, with funds.
It is a devastating development, but we do have to leave it. I do have a lot of questions because it is really sad to see that people have to go through this and families have to lose loved ones over something that could have been avoided at every step. Thank you so much for talking to us. PRO, Nigerian Institute of Building, Lagos State Chapter, Godfrey C. Godfrey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.